At this time, the candidates for Student Congress President will share their platforms and have 1 minute to address the audience. Place number 1, J. Harold Clay.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? First and foremost, I want to make sure I keep everything brief as possible. First and foremost, the two biggest points of my campaign will be visibility and transparency. I believe the visibility is key. I think the individual involvement that we've done thus far has been great for Student Congress as well as student organizations. But I believe the opportunity is there for us to tap into the other 33,000 individuals that we have on campus. The visibility as far as marketing, the ploys in which to get other people involved is very essential. I think as far as transparency-wise, there's a lot to be said of individuals having that buy-in in knowing that we're making the same decisions in front of them that we'll be making behind closed doors. I think that's definitely something that needs to happen. I think the individuals that have been invested thus far have done a lot, and I think more is to be done if we can attract more people to be interested in what we're doing and what we have in the great organizations we have here on campus.
Thank you. Presidential candidate, place number 2, Troy Boris.
Hey, good afternoon. My name is Troy Boris, and I am running for Student Congress President for the 2013-14 school year. I'm here this afternoon to ask you for a favor, for you to give me the opportunity to change Student Congress and to step away from the same old business as usual. With the current Congress, we're facing a situation where Congress is losing touch with the student's voice, and I want to help bring that back. They have killed in research 65% of the resolutions that students have presented, either because the administration didn't agree with the resolution or they said we didn't have the resources. I believe I have the purpose and the passion to return Student Congress to the students and to restore your faith in the job that we are charged to do, which is being the student's body voice. So I would like to ask you, and for you to ask your friends to vote for me, Troy Boris, and bring back your voice to Student Congress. Thank you.
Thank you. Presidential candidate, place number 3, Mark Reeder.
Hello, everybody. My experience at UT Arlington has allowed me to engage with faculty and staff, university administrators, and community figureheads in a wide range of initiatives, which have culminated into a substantial amount of experience that I believe will allow me to serve most effectively as Student Congress President. This next Student Congress President will be important in maintaining and enhancing the standard of excellence that previous Congresses have up to this point maintained. As the university transitions into a new administration, the President is going to need to be able to set a strong first impression and connection so that Congress remains and continues to be heard. Additionally, Congress's transparency between the student body will need to be improved so that the greatest amount of student opinion is incorporated into any and all campus issues. I have the experience to most effectively connect with the new administration, as well as organize the Congress so that the variety of student opinion is most effectively represented to the administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Presidential candidate, place number 4, Varun Malapati.
Hello guys, my name is Varun Malapati. Just to give you a little background about myself, I'm a finance major. I'm a junior, close to being a senior next year. To give you my platform, I really like Abraham Lincoln's quotes. One of the things he said, I think 2 years before he was assassinated, I do not think much of a man who is now wiser today than he was yesterday. And I think I grew wiser in the last year because I ran against Ms. Fox over here and came in second place last time with 551 votes about this time last year. And then the past year I've been working with the student leadership honors program the past year, and then I think I gained enough experience to convey what you think to the administration. We've been hearing voice and transparency a lot. That's what I would like to bring to the administration in the future, because we are getting a new president, Dr. Wistabs Karbari, and I would like to make sure our voice is being heard in the past and as well as the present administration. With your help, I can do that.
Thank you. At this time, the presidential candidates will begin their first round of questions, and before the event started, I had them draw for questions. So J. Harold Clay, your first question is, how can student government be more in touch with the students?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I feel like there's much to be done in the visibility of Congress. I've seen the numbers of individuals that are involved here on campus, and those numbers versus enrollment rates simply don't add up. I truthfully believe that not even for a second, even with this transitional period of ridding ourselves from being a commuter school, do we have a shortage of people who care. The problem isn't that the campus only has less than 3,000 people that see opportunities to grow here. The problem is that those are the only individuals we've attracted thus far. A program I've advocated called Meet Your Senator Day fosters the everyday connections that come from personally getting to know your member of Congress. Creating those relationships, along with advocating personal, daily interactions of outreach, is key in building anything amongst large groups of people. And I feel like with the opportunity to work together, we can do so in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Troy, your first question is describe the characteristics of an ideal Student Congress president.
First of all, I do believe that they must be an active listener. Our first and foremost responsibility is to hear the students' thoughts and concerns. They must be a servant leader. They must put others' opinions before their own and understand that they must do what's best for the student body as a whole, though it may conflict with their personal interests. They must have a great sense of integrity. They should make the same decisions when no one is watching as when everyone is watching. And finally, they must have a sincere desire to make a difference not only for current students, but also the generations of Mavericks yet to come.
Thank you. Mark, your first question is, what do you see as the role of Student Congress in the university's efforts to achieve Tier 1 status?
Universities must meet certain requirements in order to be granted this Tier 1 status, and this is something that UT Arlington has been desperately searching after for quite a long time. And I believe that Student Congress can sometimes come into play in that goal of attaining Tier 1 status. Not only can certain resolutions have the power to meet student needs, a power which can be incredibly important in both daily activities as well as the bigger picture of a university, but these resolutions may also help the university meet Tier 1 requirements. I know that oftentimes in our general body and committee discussion over certain resolutions, we will ask how this resolution may impact our attaining Tier 1 status. I don't believe that Student Congress has an entirely central role in achieving Tier 1. Rather, its primary job is to meet the student needs. But I do think that it can often help in certain ways. So though not every resolution will impact Tier 1, the Congress is always cognizant of how its actions may improve the university, and is always looking for ways to get us closer to that Tier 1 status.
Thank you. Varun, your first question is, describe the characteristics of an ideal Student Congress president.
For me, that would be threefold. Number one, he should have vision. Making sure that whatever he has in mind or she has in mind is making sure that the path is already cleared out. Now I know why my parents would say, don't give scissors to kids, because they'll be running around, but they don't got no place to go. The second would be personable. We live in an age where everything is at our fingertips, but yet we feel so distant. It's not the communication that's the problem, it's making sure we are personable to the students and making sure that we build relationship with the students and they feel that they can trust us. And the third one would be making sure we're goal-oriented, making sure we have right goals to reach, because we get whenever one of the four of us are going to be in the office, we have to know what we're set out to be accomplishing, not just go there and freestyle it. So there would be vision, making sure we build personal relationship with them, and then making sure we have enough goals at the beginning to make sure we can track ourselves to determine our success or failure in the one-year term.
Thank you. Jay Harrell, your second question is, being elected to a campus-wide leadership position carries certain expectations. What do you feel these expectations are, and how are you prepared to meet them?
First and foremost, I understand when putting yourself in a public servant position. I want to emphasize that point, that this is a public service position. And understanding that it's not necessarily just about my opinion and my experiences that I'm bringing to this opportunity, but the vision of being both an orientation leader, being involved on campus, and hearing what it is that's the concerns of the general body are the most important portions. I feel as though an individual that has that position and understands what that status brings, that you hold yourself to a certain standard. You understand that there's certain things that you can't do, there's certain things that you have to uphold, and sometimes you understand that the testaments of character will come. But I believe it's most important for the individual that you see in public, the person that services themselves to you, and the things I've been advocating for the last 3 years I've been on campus, and involved are being upheld both in public life as well as in private. And that's my promise to each and every person here, that I will do so if elected your president. Thank you.
Thank you. Troy, your second question is, what do you see as the role of Student Congress in the university's efforts to achieve Tier 1 status?
I believe that Student Congress must insist in growing student life here on campus and fostering a community spirit and making sure that UTA is the only stop in their destination looking for a university to attend. Student Congress President must also work to keep tuition rates affordable and look for additional financial aid that is able to keep attracting high-achieving freshmen who will eventually evolve into and assist in attracting high-quality graduate students, which are two essential steps in becoming a Tier 1 university. Meeting these will attract more high-quality faculty members, which in turn increases research funding opportunities, which will help propel UTA to Tier 1 status.
Thank you. Mark, your second question is, how can student government be more in touch with the students?
It is the job of student government to be in touch with its constituents and to make sure that the representative opinions are being gathered. So we have programs like the Maverick Opinion Board and Student Congress Fair, and they're important in gathering that student opinion. However, with UT Arlington student culture, we will have to become more proactive, going out to students rather than waiting for them to come to us. More energy on our part may be the way to get more in touch with students. We will need to have requirements and programs aimed at having senators reach out to their individual colleges and constituents more frequently and on a more intimate level. Programs such as Congress Conversations began to get at that, and I think that this is something that can be improved and can be quite effective. By actively seeking that opinion as opposed to sitting and waiting for a resolution to come in, I think we can more effectively access our target audience and gather that much needed feedback.
Thank you. And Varun, your second question is again, how can student government be more in touch with the students?
Seems like the golden question of the day. Going back to my first response, the three characteristics of a Student Congress President, it has to go back to personal relationships. We can be all oriented, but I saw this saying in my high school teacher's wall: they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. If they do not know that you're vested in them, it does not matter if you might be Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King, they will not be paying attention to you. That's the problem we have right now. And hopefully, because and I do have a solution. Whenever a week from now, we all will be campaigning really hard to get the Student Congress President's position. And if we can do that the 2 days on April 15th and 16th, what can we be doing that for the rest of the year to get their opinion on most important things? So if we can do that, I think we will be on a really good shape going forward with the students and the administration. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. At this time, the candidates for Student Congress Vice President will share their platforms and have 1 minute to address the audience. Place number 1, Lon Ho.
Hello, my name is Lon Ho and I'm running for Student Congress Vice President. Since I was a freshman, I've enjoyed being involved in campus organizations such as Flock, Mavelite, and UT Ambassadors. I am currently serving as the Secretary/Program Director for the Student Congress Executive Board, and these positions have allowed me this great opportunity to run for Student Congress President. I'm wanting to run for this position because I want your voice to be heard. I want to streamline the resolution process so that the research that is done by senators is heard and is supported by the administration, so that we can enact change and implement your opinions onto this campus. And the second reason why I want to run for this position is because there is a new university administration in effect June 1st when Dr. Kabari starts his term as the new president. And I believe that the Student Congress Vice President, along with the Student Congress President, is responsible for communicating with the administration and the student body and letting the student body know that they are represented by the senators in Student Congress.
Thank you. And write-in candidate for Student Congress Vice President, Charles Wilson.
Hello, fellow Mavericks. I'm Charles Wilson, and I'm running for the position of Student Congress Vice President. Being elected to this position comes with a great deal of responsibility to you, my fellow students. I'm not running just so I can add to my resume. I'm running so I can change the status quo. Students across campus are being heard, and that's not as big as an issue as it seems. I wish to maintain the level of student involvement and work to increase it over time. But what I wish to change is the little action that is being taken with what students want. I will work with the Student Congress President to take your voice and turn it into actions that yield results. To vote for me, you have to write me in. My slogan is, refuse to be ordinary, who dares wins.
Thank you. At this time, the vice presidential candidates will begin their first round of questions. Lon, if you would draw your first question. Lon, your question is, do you have a plan to increase student involvement in various campus involvement activities such as student congress, student organizations, and other representative student bodies?
Yes, I do have a plan in increasing student involvement. As a freshman, I started in as a commuter student, so I thought I wasn't going to be involved as I was coming in as a commuter student. But I believe that the information sessions at orientation and the activities fairs at the beginning of each semester are really great in getting students involved who want to be involved. However, I feel like as Student Congress Vice President, you also have the additional responsibility of getting the students that want to get involved but don't necessarily know how to. So by getting those students involved, I feel like we should have programs such as Meet Your Senator Night, or promote that all student Congress meetings are open to the public, and encourage students that want to get involved in Congress and representing their constituents to attend these meetings, to know how Congress is run and know how campus organizations are run, so that they can make an impact here on their campus.
Thank you. Charles, your question is, if a student approached you and said student government wasn't relevant to them, what would your response be?
I would first ask them if they use dining dollars, whether they watch the TVs in the plaza, or if they like the fact that you can access internet via Wi-Fi all over campus. If they answer yes to any of these questions, I would politely inform them that student government took the first steps to have these amenities implemented. Then I would refer back to their first statement and ask them if they have reconsidered whether or not student government is relevant to them, in which case they will most likely answer yes. Then I would ask them to be active and vote on campus, because it is relevant to them.
Thank you. Lon, your second question is, being elected to a campus-wide leadership position carries certain expectations. What do you feel these expectations are, and how are you prepared to meet them?
Well, I feel that the most important expectation of any student leader here on campus is to represent UT Arlington to the best of their ability. And I plan on doing this by being visible, transparent, and the communicative link between the student body and the administration with the help of the Student Congress President. In addition, one would expect a student leader to be organized, responsible, and passionate in enacting and implementing change and representing the students here on campus.
Thank you. Charles, your second question is, what measures would you develop to follow through with Student Congress supported resolutions and ensure their implementation by central administration?
Well, first of all, for those of you who don't know, we have a Student Congress website, a website that shows us all the resolutions for the past 20 years. These resolutions have been failed, passed, or put aside. A way to implement and follow through with Congress-supported resolutions is to make them known. Not just the student who says, I want this done, and the senator who brings it up to general body, but then making it known across the campus to everyone what it is we're working on. We have cameras in the Student Congress room that show our sessions on television. So maybe using these recordings to show what we do during our sessions will be a more effective way of making students be able to be able to act with fervor to change our school.
Thank you. If the candidates for President and Vice President will please exit the stage, and will the candidates for Miss UTA and Mr. UTA join me? presidential and vice presidential candidates will please stick around for the Q&A session after the Mr. and Miss candidates. At this time, the candidates for Miss UTA will share their platforms and have 1 minute to address the audience. Place number 1, Melissa Gonzalez.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Gonzalez and I'm running for Miss UTA. My platform is always changing, just like the student body. My platform, what I'm basically going for right now, is that the ambassador program is now changing. It's going in a completely different direction, giving Mr. and Miss UTA a lot more responsibility. And with this responsibility, we need a dedicated leader, somebody who's organized, somebody who is going to take initiative, and somebody who's innovative. And I believe that I fit all of these qualities. I've been involved a lot on campus, from orientation leader to homecoming queen to helping out with the big event. All of these require a certain amount of responsibility and initiative and innovation. So voting for me is voting for all of those things. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss UTA candidate, place number 2, Brittany Mays.
Hi everybody. Hi everybody, I'm Brittany Mays and I am also running for Miss UTA. My initiative this year is just redefining the college experience here on campus. I want to build a greater community in the UTA environment and just really promote organization unity, student unity, and also just, sorry. But thank you for your time. Please vote for Brittany.
Thank you. Miss UTA candidate, place number 3, Destiny Price.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Destiny Price, and I'm a proud Maverick. I believe that we have a wonderful campus here. We have great organizations, great Greek life, great athletic programs, and great engineering programs. Our engineering team just went on to a competition this weekend. And what we need to do as an ambassador and as Miss UTA, I will work with Mr. UTA to increase school spirit. It's the ambassador's job to be the hosts and hostesses of this university. When students come here, they're going to be here for 4+ years. We need to make them feel at home here, and I will work to take action to increase school spirit and make everyone feel welcome.
Thank you. Miss UTA candidates will now begin their first round of questions. The UTA Ambassadors Program is being refocused to work with university events to plan and implement traditional campus events. These events include the Mavs Meet After Party, Homecoming, UTA Night on the Town, the Block Party, Graduation Celebration, and others. Melissa, how will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs? Be specific.
Okay. All right, as an orientation leader, I did it twice, so 2 years of orientation leader. I've seen freshmen change from one year to another. The first year that I did it, not everybody was really excited about coming to UTA. Everybody was like, oh, it's a commuter school, all this other stuff. But this past year, people were more excited. People were more excited to go to the events, more excited to go to the concerts. So I feel like as Miss UTA, I would not only work with just one organization like Excel or the major organizations on campus, but also form committees with smaller organizations to find out what the students want, because in the end, it is for them. So it's more effective than a survey, and it will get the student voice heard. That way, it's more popular for students, it attracts them, and so they're more likelihood to show up to events and therefore promote it for the next year and then years to come.
Thank you. Brittany, your question is again, how will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs?
Okay, so my key objective for program success this year is support. We all need it and we all need to give it to be successful. And I plan to establish stronger relationships with active organizations on campus by hosting organization leadership trainings and mixers, by continuing to do organization outreaches, and also just supporting organizations in their events on campus. And hopefully this will generate support for our organization for the ambassadors. Also, I would like to collaborate with Excel to discuss possibly having hosting the fall concert during homecoming week, include all students, organizations, and University College to have an activity/resource fair at the MASME after party, and to work with Multicultural Affairs and the Maverick Marauders to diversify UTA night on the town and include our alumni. Thank you.
Thank you. Destiny, same question. How will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs?
All right. I believe that in my previous experience as an ambassador, that the ambassador program is getting the ambassadors excited first to be the host and hostess, to go out to the different departments and build those relationships so that we can have the caliber of events, caliber of programs that other universities have. In order to have the big programs, the big events, you have to build those relationships on campus. And getting the ambassadors first excited not only about being an ambassador, but using their ambassador position to make change here on campus. So I would first ignite the ambassadors, then reach out to the departments and organizations on campus so that our events and programs can be raised to a higher caliber. Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa, your second question is, please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
Hi again. Okay. So my programming experience consists mostly of orientation. Being a senior orientation leader for my second year, I had to work with the department to hire the orientation leaders and then carry out their duties. So that in itself took a lot of programming. I had to do a lot of team building. I was assistant for morale, and so that involved me having to personally get to know the orientation leaders to have a successful program. My other programming experience is with a big event. I'm currently the outreach chair, and the outreach chair consists of going out to agencies and reaching out to agencies to sign them up for the big event. This was kind of tough just because you have to reach out to them and ask them, you know, turn in your application and all this other stuff. So you have to publicize UTA, you have to publicize the big event and how much Maverick Spirit there is here to serve. And so far it's pretty successful. I'm really excited for next Saturday, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you.
Thank you. Brittany, your second question is, please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
Okay. Well, I actually had a bunch of successful programs as a peer academic leader here on campus. I was a residential PAL, and I was made to have a lot of programs that fit for the students, and I listened to them, and I was able to give them the type of programs that they wanted to have. And also, I've been actively involved in the ambassador program for a year, and I have the proper experience in the old and new traditions of the program and the appropriate skills to lead a successful year as Miss UTA. I'm a rigorous planner and very creative, and I have passion for just making the school a better university for the students here on campus. I have participated in MASME After Party, homecoming events, the block party, and the Maverick Speaker Series, along with a lot of other events here on campus. And I just want to be more visible to the students here on campus with the Ambassador Program. And one of the ideas that I have is to really put a twist. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Brittany. And Destiny, same question. Please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
Okay. My programming experience started my freshman year. As a member of freshman leaders on campus, I was, for first semester, the social chair. And we started out our year big. We started with the freshman fall blowout in the bowling and billiards. And it was highly attended. It was a great event. It was a way to welcome students onto campus, getting them to start to feel at home. Then we'll move on to sophomore year. I got involved with NACWC, the National Association of Color Women's Club. I'm currently the president, and we have several different events throughout the year, which include philanthropic events as well as social and community service-based events. So I believe that not only is it important to have the social side, but also for our community to give back, the UTA community to give back with philanthropic and community service events by partnering with different organizations on campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. And the candidates for Mr. UTA will share their platforms and have 1 minute to address the audience. Mr. UTA candidate place number 1, Cass Bang Bang.
Good afternoon, how y'all doing? My name is Cass Fang Bang. I'm running for Mr. UTA. If you look at our campus, you'll quickly realize we are a unique university. Our diversity makes us stand out from the rest of the schools in the UT system and in the nation as a whole. So as Mr. UTA, if you vote for me, what I plan on doing is implementing this diversity into the events that the ambassadors coordinate in order to build a stronger school spirit, because I feel like that's something that needs a lot of work here at UTA. If you look around, you see a lot of people with TCU shirts and things of that nature, but if we can build a stronger school spirit, you can have more people in UTA shirts and have more people showing up to our events and things of that nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. UTA candidate place number 2, Avery Hartwell.
Hello, I'm Avery Hartwell. I went from Mr. UTA. I want to make the ambassador program more relevant on campus. We at UTA, we are a commuter school, so I want to make more events to where not just students on campus can come to, but commuter students come to too. We have a lot of events that are 7 p.m. night after class. If you're a commuter student, once you go home, you're not going to come back. So I want to implement new ideas on campus during the daytime, so where we can have maximum school spirit to where students that live on campus and commuter students can all come out. I feel like, me personally, I'm school spirit. I used to be a track member and made a UTA bounce, so I want to put my fire into all the students on campus. So I feel like bringing students who live on campus and commuter students all together in one activity will maximize our school spirit.
Thank you. Mr. UTA candidate place number 4, Christopher McCain, is not here, so we will move on to Mr. UTA candidate place number 5, Salvador Cordero.
Hello, my name is Salvador Cordero. I am running for Mr. UTA. Basically, my platform is to help strengthen campus traditions that we have and help build new ones. Throughout the time that I've been here at the university, I've been actively involved with Excel my freshman year, and then my sophomore year as well, moving to a director position. And currently I'm an RA at Arlington Hall, so I'm pretty in touch with the residents and seeing like what people want at the university.
Thank you. And now the Mr. UTA candidates will begin their first round of questions. It'll be the same questions as the Miss UTA candidates had. So as you know, the UTA Ambassadors Program is being refocused to work with university events to plan and implement traditional campus events. So, Cass, how will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs?
I basically plan on working with all the organizations on campus. Like I said, incorporating diversity into the events that the ambassadors coordinate is really essential, since diversity is one of our strongholds. If we can use that energy in it and transfer it into the school spirit of UTA, I think it's going to go a long way.
Thank you. Avery, same question. How will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs?
Well, one, I would go meet with other organizations. Knowing that most of these new events have came from Excel, I would go to the leader of Excel, sit down, have one-on-ones, get points from him or her to lead these new events. And going on before there, I would going on beyond there, I would get the ambassadors to meet with the Excel to come together and make new ideas to make the event more better and exceed the expectations of the events.
Thank you. Salvador, how will you lead the ambassadors in working with other campus entities to ensure the success of these programs?
Well, first I'll talk to the ambassadors and stress that, you know, Mr. and Miss UTA and the ambassadors are elected positions. So we're here and we represent the student body as well as Student Congress. And whenever we go to another organization, they voted for us. So it's really important that we show that, yes, we're the ambassadors, we're elected, we do care about the university, and we want to show off the university to the best of our abilities. And to ensure the success of the events, like I previously stated, I was actively involved within Excel. I was the Campus Traditions Director last year, and I was the Maverick Speaker Series Chair my freshman year. So some of the events that are coming into the Ambassador Program, I already have experience with. I've known that I've seen a grow within the 2 years that I was in Excel, and I know it's continuing to grow, and I'm still somewhat involved with some of the members in Excel. Therefore, I will be able to ask them more conversational questions about how the events have been better within the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Cass, your second question is please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
First of all, I'm a founding father of the Kappa Alpha Order chapter here at UTA, and in that chapter I've served as recruitment chairman and I've served as vice president. And also, I'm also the current building supervisor of the University Center, so on a daily basis I get to deal with a lot of programming and events and things of that nature. So I think these leadership experiences put me in a better position to be Mr. UTA.
Thank you. Avery, please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
Well, one specific program that I worked on is my organization's Collection of Brothers. They put on every year a award ceremony, honor systems on campus. I helped with formulating dances, make sure everybody that's involved in the show know where they're supposed to be at what time. I helped make sure that ladies are coming in, make sure they're on time, and make sure that everything's ordered for the show, so that my organization can have a good show. And one of the new ideas I have, back to my platform about making sure that everybody comes, commuter students and not commuter students. During homecoming week, we have a weekend. I want to implement a whole week, so we can have things throughout the day for people who's on campus already. Have a carnival maybe on a Wednesday during the school day, so everybody can go. Because once again, if you're a commuter student and once you leave, most likely you're not going to come back. So if doing more ideas, doing more traditions during the daytime, so the whole student body can come to, that's one of my new ideas in homecoming week and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Salvador, please describe your programming experience and what new ideas you have to make each program better attended by students.
Okay, well, first of all, like I said earlier, that I am a RA at Arlington Hall, resident assistant. I see what the students that currently live on campus, what they like to come out to. I know those keywords that get them out, like free or giveaways, so I know that we can stress that within our advertisements to bring them out. As I previously mentioned as well, that I was actively involved in Excel. I programmed the first ever homecoming bash in the College Park Center. That was difficult because the College Park Center wasn't built when we were planning it. So I know how to be adaptable within these things. I know how to be like, okay, the students want this, but it's not feasible with the administration. So if we can come up with a compromise of having somewhat what the students want and what's feasible within the administration. And as well, or to start off with things that I'd like to improve on is the advertisements. And the ways to get that is basically going out to students, just asking them what attracts you to events, what makes you want to come out to it, what are the keywords that you see. So that's what I like to do as Mr. UTA. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the audience will have the opportunity to ask questions of any of our candidates, those for Student Congress President or Vice President or Mr. and Miss UTA. So if the audience has any questions. Anyone? Rebecca?
More specifically for the presidential candidates. I haven't been hearing as much today as I would have liked to have heard about transfer students and graduate students. Graduate students make up nearly 24%, so more than 23% of the population on campus. They are a huge percentage, as well as there are more transfer students than freshmen. So what are you going to do to help those two populations who have not been reached out to as much through Student Congress efforts in the past?
Thank you. Can we come up on stage? Yeah, y'all can sit.
Okay, hello? First and foremost, thank you so much, Rebecca. I appreciate that kind of question. That's definitely something that needs to be addressed. In my time here as an orientation leader, we did have transfer orientations. The reason why we implemented that is because we realized what it is that transfer students bring to this campus. Although they may have started at a junior college or may have started at another university, we have to make sure that we can quickly address what their needs are, that we have an open ear to where it is that we know that it translates their opinion to. Going and seeking out them in places like the MAC and other mutual places on campus is essential to making sure that we can be in touch with the transfer students as well as with those individuals that are coming from a non-traditional standpoint.
Thank you, Jay Harrell. Now, Troy.
I think it's extremely important to include all members of the campus involved in everything. Freshmen coming in, graduate students are actually two of the steps that we need to increase to become a Tier 1 institution. So they are areas that we should put more focus on. Again, they do make up a large portion of the student body. So one thing that they need to do is they need to not just kind of be in the shadows, but they need to toot their own horn. They need to let us know what they think is important. They need to let us know what they're doing. So to get our attention, they have to draw attention upon themselves and help make the community better as a whole.
Thank you. Now Mark Reeder.
I think that transfer students and graduate students are a largely underutilized source of involvement, especially here on campus. I think that we can do a lot more to incorporate them and get them involved in different student involvement avenues. I think that we've made steps in the right direction by mandating a transfer orientation. I think that we can improve upon that by not only requiring a mandatory activity fair session within the freshman orientation, by doing that with transfer students to get them involved as well. I think that we should also increase the amount of communication that's going on between not only the transfer students but with the graduate students. I know that recently the graduate school was dissolved and that no students were really given any opportunity, really aware of that or kind of the implications of all that. So I think we provide more communication and streamline such communication between the students and the administration, then they'll know what's going on, they'll be more satisfied with their university experience, might be more willing to become involved on campus.
Thank you. Now Varun.
Rebecca, thank you for the question. It was an awesome question. And one of the things I learned by going to the Graduate Student Senate the other day was they also put this in the Shorthorn, that the graduate school is going to be dissolving. There's going to be no graduate school anymore. It's going to be department specific. And the concerns I heard in the Senate was it's actually a negative for people who are trying to come to UTA, because it's going to put more of an effort from the students' part. So rather choose the different university which offers the graduate school programs than UTA. So not only right now, but for the future, especially considering UTA as Tier 1 goals, the option to become a Tier 1 goal, if we're not going to get enough PhD students in there to do more research and kind of help us out in that sense, I think it's going to be a negative for us. And hopefully I'll be working with the administration to kind of see what we can do to help them out and kind of give some other incentive to still make UTA an attractive school for graduate studies.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the audience?
Hello. I have a question. It seems like all of the Student Congress presidents said a lot about visibility and transparency, but what makes each candidate different in your effort to help the community?
So the question is, what makes your efforts different from the other presidential candidates? Jay Harrell?
Well, first and foremost, I'm not new to transparency or visibility. Honestly and truthfully, it's something I've been advocating. If any one of you guys have seen my trek the first time in 2011, it's the same thing I've been advocating since the very beginning. My efforts, my actions, both behind closed doors and in front of each and every one of you, have been exactly the same. I make sure that I push to do what's the right thing, whether it's in front of people or behind closed doors. My biggest thing as far as visibility is understanding that we have a pool of people that aren't being tapped into. Much like what he said as far as the Graduate Student Senate, there's the opportunity for us to tap into resources that have not been tapped into thus far. As far as transparency goes, I know that keeping people accountable in all aspects is very much needed. Whether it's an administrative person or whether it's a public servant or a student that's involved here on campus, we have to keep people accountable. We have to have that transparency in order for other people to believe in the efforts that we're having. Thank you.
Thank you. Troy?
I think that my successes as a member of Student Congress basically speak for themselves. They show my dedication to both current and future students. Actually, many years ago here, I was the publicity officer for a Student Congress-led group called SMAC, Students Mad About Cooper. We raised the concerns of student safety on campus, we held rallies, and we brought those concerns to the City Council, which eventually led to the lowering of Cooper Street through the middle of campus in the early 90s. Currently, I'm the parliamentarian for Student Congress, and I've overseen the Maverick Discount Program, which has added more than 125 new vendors and 150 new discounts, which equals the amount that have joined the program over the previous 2 years. I'm also the chairman of the Program Assistance Fund, which distributes supplemental funding to student organizations, and we're actually the first committee in the history of the Program Assistance Fund to distribute all of its funding. So again, this does show my dedication to both current and future students.
Thank you. Mark?
Since my first day here at UTA, I've been involved. I've remained involved up to that point, so I've been very connected on campus. I've met a lot of different people, made a lot of different contacts. So I've seen a wide variety of issues that students can be encountering on a daily basis. And I think that with the way the Student Congress stands now is that senators are not being exactly proactive and reaching out to their constituents. So kind of back to what I said in an earlier statement, that I want to mandate through our senators and through different Student Congress programs that we're being a lot more proactive, reaching out to students, going out to them rather than waiting for them to come to us, going out and looking for that opinion in different ways and making sure that we're being as representative as possible for the students.
Thank you. Varun?
Guys, when we go to Walmart, right, and whenever you're trying to purchase a product for $5 worth of thing, there's a guarantee that comes with it. You know, like if this product fails, we're gonna replace the product or give you, like, you know, your money back. And we're trying to decide on Student Congress president. And I think it's the right time for us to be looking at each person's track records. Me personally, right now, I'm the current president of National Society of Leadership and Success. It turned out to be one of the largest organizations on campus. Just in one semester itself, 620 people joined our organization, and each person paid $85 to be in it. So they don't come and join and pay $85 if they don't believe that this organization and the people running it are going to be trustworthy. And then coming back to the visibility part, and I think my current position as Leadership Honors Program Director is going to help me a lot because I learned so much from the administration itself, so it's going to give me a better way to be speaking with the students. Hope that answers the question. By the way, great question.
Thank you. Ricky?
This question is to Mr. and Mrs. UTA. This is for anyone who has not been a UTA ambassador prior to running for Mr. and Mrs. UTA. Do you feel like you will be able to effectively run the ambassador program having no prior experience or involvement with the program?
Thank you.
I haven't been involved in the ambassador program yet. However, I know a lot of ambassadors, and they've told me about their experiences with the program now. My answer to that question would be that the ambassador program is now changing. It's very proactive now. It's very involved. Mr. and Ms. UTA are going to have to work a lot harder in order to run the program effectively. With that being said, I feel like I would take a lot of the feedback from old ambassadors, from people who have run the ambassador program before, Mr. and Mrs. UTA from last year and the year before. Just talk about traditions that need to be kept in the program and things that need to be changed in the program. Because if the program is changing like overall, I feel like a person who, like myself, who adapts well to change and who is organized enough and has enough initiative to make it more successful, will take that leadership position and make it more successful than it was in previous years. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
From my understanding, the ambassador program basically is a group of students that coordinate events that cater to the students of UTA, and I believe I still have the same set of skills, even though I wasn't involved with the ambassador program. I've been involved, like I said, a recruitment chairman and vice president of Kappa Alpha Order here at UTA. So we still set up events of this nature, philanthropic events, recruitment events, and a lot of social events. So I still have the set of skills necessary, even though the organizations might be different. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. You have to speak, because it was just what we had. Yes, in the back.
Patty, this is for all the UTA presidential candidates. What exactly does the UTA president do, and how do they do it in relation to the ambassadors, Congress, and Mr. and Mrs. UTA? And I mean actually, not what's on paper.
Thank you. So the question is, what does the Student Congress President do, and how will they work effectively with the other student leadership positions? Jay Harrell?
Okay, first off, for those of you that know me as Jackson, I love that question because that's the root of everything that we're doing out here. First and foremost, as Student Congress President, just getting away from everything that you may have seen on the literature, realistically, you're the liaison. You are the person that makes sure you're you're there to make sure everything is happening as Student Congress President in the chambers, keeping the meetings going fluently. But more importantly, you are the representative for the school. Whether it be chairing on different boards that you're called to as Student Congress President, you become that person to represent behind closed doors. And that's why everything that you've been hearing me talk about is the fact that you're not out here making empty promises. You're not out here telling people you're going to do something, and when it comes down the pipeline, you're agreeing with something else. You stand firmly in front of you guys, and you stand firmly behind closed doors. And I hope that answers your question and what you're doing and being a liaison, because realistically, that's what you end up doing. So.
Thank you. Troy?
Like Jackson mentioned, we are the liaison between the student body and the administration, but actually, whenever the Student Congress President goes to meet with the university president, they are the voice of the student body. They are there to represent your the things that you're looking out for. They become they become the embodiment of what in particular things that you want to have done. We present the president with a resolution, and the good thing about Congress passing a resolution and the president, Student Congress President passing that, is it demands action. He has to tell us, yes, we're going to do that, no, we're not going to do that. So again, they are there to give the pros and cons. Hopefully they are they're moving forward with the direction that the students have directed them that they want to go. And again, they are your representative, they're your voice, and it's something that they need to reflect when they're speaking with the president.
Thank you. Mark?
I see it as a primary goal of the president, firstly, to create some goals and a vision for the Congress, for the students, and for the university for that year, and to develop that vision and work with the executive board and the students in communicating the different aspects of that vision and delegating different pieces of work out to make sure that that vision is accomplished. In day-to-day activities, it's about working with your executive board, making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing to accomplish that vision and accomplish those tasks, leading student congress meetings, and also meeting with administrators is another important part of that, and that making sure that the resolutions are effectively communicated and fought for and that they are passed. I think that it's also part of the president's job to be speaking with students. It's not only the senator's responsibility to be connecting with their constituents. I think that the president is something that they can also be doing and working towards, making sure that we have as representative of an opinion as possible that we are then taking to the administration and fighting for different campus issues.
Thank you. Varun?
Good question, by the way. Let me just give you in the simplest terms. Everybody knows about the bowling and billiards situation. Let's say, for example, you're for bowling and billiards going away, and then me, personally, I think it should stay there. What I'll be speaking to the administration is your views, not mine. And if the majority of them say that the bowling and billiards has to be gone, that's what I'll be saying, even if my personal experience and my personal preference is for that to be there, because that's where I go and hang out with all my friends. So that would be something that I would think of what Student Congress President says, apart from what it says on the paper, what it says in the job description. That's probably the simplest way I can break it down for you. Does that make sense?
Thank you. I think we have time for one more question. Anthony? Sorry, I saw his hand first.
Go ahead.
All right, two-part. First and foremost, as far as I understand, the reason why Student Congress passed the reasoning for ambassadors for Mr. and Miss UTA for not having to be ambassadors before the program allowed more people that had different forms of leadership experience to represent that role. And my second part on that is on school history, and where we pride ourselves in the ambassador program for that. So my question to the ambassador candidates for Mr. and Miss UTA, and to those who weren't ambassadors, if you could name me 6 of the previous mascots of UTA.
Okay. Melissa?
All right, here we go. So Blaze Maverick, obviously. The Rebels, Junior Aggies. The Shorthorns. Junior Aggies. The Carlisle Cannons. Blue Raiders. One more. Blue Raiders. The Grubworms.
Correct. Well, this is pretty easy for you, Brittany, but if you want to go ahead and give that a try.
Okay. The Rebels, the Grubworms, the Hornet. Well, the Blue Raiders, and that's actually all the ones that I can remember.
Thank you. Destiny?
All right. Well, I'm going to start with some that haven't been said. Samantha Maverick, Sam Maverick, and then I'll go to the ones that have been said. Blaze, the Hornets, the Grubworms, the Junior Aggies. That's 6. You want me to keep going or you want me to stop at 6? I'll stop at 6. All right. Here you go.
Thank you. Cass?
All right, Junior Aggies, Blaze, Hornets, Shorthorn, and the San Blaze. I really don't know.
Thank you. Avery?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know, but using my resources that they said, Samantha, Sam, Grubworms, Junior Aggies, Blaze, and we have, I'm missing one, Hornets. Thank you.
In Salvador.
So all of them have already been said already, so I'm not gonna waste y'all time with that. But to answer your question about like having new people come into it, like yes, it's a good thing having people who haven't been part of the ambassador program run for Mr. and Miss, but because that does bring diversity into the organization and who, like, whatever experience they have can contribute to making the ambassadors a better program. So I do agree with that. However, the part that I do disagree with is the fact that if you don't really know the organization, how can you really lead it? So, no. Like, so, you know, with that, it's cool. Like, if you don't know the organization, that's fine, because, you know, everything in life is a learning experience. So, just to give you that, that's how I feel about that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, we'd like to thank all of you for attending the Spring 2013 Candidates Forum. If you have additional questions for any of the candidates, I hope that they will stick around for a few minutes and be able to speak with you one-on-one. We hope that you will all come out and vote next week on Monday, April 15th and Tuesday, April 16th in the UC Gallery from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And please remember to bring your student ID to vote. And we want to thank the Ambassador Program for providing the free popcorn. So thank you very much, and go Mavericks.